It's the weekend.
Warriors.
Warriors coming to play.
Yeah, there we go.
Good Saturday morning, everybody. We are broadcasting live from the Weekend Warrior Studios in beautiful Peoria, Arizona. I'm Ralph Romano. Alongside my partners in crime, we have the legendary Philip Amrine and the neck-shaking Mr. Luke Wright. And this is the Weekend Warriors.
Yes. And if you are wanting to join the Wired Weekend Warriors, then you too can, whichever way that you are joining us online right now, whether that be Instagram, whether that be X, whether that be Facebook, whether that be YouTube, whether that be LinkedIn. I don't know. Maybe.
We've never been on LinkedIn, but you keep saying it.
I keep saying it. It's because really the one that I want to say is like I'm trying to find a good one, like Cabela's Online, you know, somewhere else that we could possibly be on. You know, maybe Dix.com. Although if you search Dix.com, I'm not sure you'll be getting to the sports store. Either way.
Wow.
If you want to be making comments such as that, such as anything really, you too can join the show however you want through many of the mediums and formats. And please do, as we read most, if not all, comments. Most that I don't understand. Absolutely. All right. Jam-packed show for you guys this week as we are nearing. You guys smell that? You smell that
Not in your house,
turf?
man.
Do you smell that synthetic grass?
The fresh cut synthetic grass.
Oh, yeah. It's coming. Football's coming, and we got a football jam-packed show for you today.
Yes.
Yes. All right. We are
Finally.
going. I know. We are on the precipice. Not
No
only.
NBA.
Yeah. Well,
NBA
maybe.
We might sprinkle.
We might be able to get a little
No
sprinkling.
I'm allergic.
Sprinkle.
A little dribble, if you will,
Wow.
of NBA. Of course, we will be certainly getting to the last eighth by 8. Of course, we gotta end it on a good division, the best division. We started with the AFC East. Of course, we are ending with the best. And then, of course, we've got even more NFL. A lot of news came out. Got a lot to talk about. Somebody buying people Lambos out here. That's something else that we got to look to. However, we did want to discuss before, football's not just the NFL. We also got the NCAA, which is really the official G League for the NFL. Now that we've got players that could be drafted staying in college, it is a professional league all its own. They're being paid as such. Of course, we are going to be going to the NCAA with a new section. Since we're already going by 8 by 8, we might as well go full into it. We're going to be calling it the double-double.
College football is back. And before a single Saturday destroys every prediction we're about to make, it's time to put ours on the record. 4 power conferences, 2 weeks, 2 at a time. Welcome to the double-double.
Yes.
God, you like that, huh?
Now that
That one was pretty good.
yeah, that one had a little sizzle to it.
It's not Valley Girlish, but it's good.
One would argue it's because it's not that it's good. You can smell the grilled onions on that bad boy. Ooh, yes, the double-double. So why do we call it the double-double? Because we will be going into 2 of the Power
4,
but really it's Power 4. Power 4 conferences.
RIP Pac-12.
Hey, how dare you? It's still alive by what? 3 teams?
2.
Oregon State, am I correct?
Who are the? I believe it's. I think it's Oregon State and Washington State.
Oh, God bless.
Because I think Washington left.
2 of the best teams they ever had.
Oregon State. That was a tough home game whenever you had to go there. I will say about that.
All
right. Regardless, double because we go to 2 of the top Power 4 conferences in college football. The first of the 2 conferences we will be going and giving our thoughts on will be the ACC. Yes, of course.
What's that mean?
ACC, American.
No, my gosh.
No,
Atlantic-
bad start.
It's athletic.
No.
Atlantic Coast conference.
That's right.
And this is why Phil doesn't lead the
You
football.
had 2 chances and you named 2 other conferences.
You know what though? And here's my biggest gripe with it's kind of like the divisions in the NBA. See, you didn't think we'd talk about the NBA, but here we go. It's kind of like the divisions in the NBA. Nobody knows nor can name the members in it. Not the case with college football. People can name the members within these conferences. However, Big 12, the monster Big 12, Big 10, and all these things, even the Pac-12 even the Pac-12 still exists as the Pac-12. Not 12 teams in there. Big 10, there's like 20 teams in there. So I don't really care about the conferences. They just stand for what they stand for. Anyways, we will be going to one of the 2 representatives in the college football playoff final championship game. And of course, the representative, not the current conference champion winner, because they finally fixed a rule this year determining the tiebreaker for what their conference champion will look like, or at least the conference participants within the conference championships. Of course, talking about the ACC, why start anywhere else other than the University of Miami, the current big dog over there? Luke, how do you feel about Miami this year? Do they have a chance to repeat, I guess, not even as conference champion, but more so as a chance to make it far into the playoffs?
I think, to get it out of the way, I do think that they will win the conference again. Or I should say for the first time, since they technically didn't win it last time.
It's so weird.
It's
the Duke Blue Devils are the winners.
I would go Miami coming and winning the ACC, or representing the ACC. I think that overall, we said Power 4, and it's kind of been a running joke, honestly, for as long as I've been alive. Just like the conferences throughout the course of my life have very steadily grown their spheres of influence into the Big 10 and the SEC. The Big 12 and the ACC are still kicking around, but they are just not on the same level as those 2 bigger ones. So Miami, I think, is going to have a pretty easy time being the highest ranked team here. I don't think they really lost a ton of people. Their stars are coming back. They were able to replace Carson Beck with the Duke quarterback, Mencia, who's pretty good. So I think at the end of the day that this is a team that, in theory, Miami should pretty easily kind of roll over here. Clemson, I think, is really just going downhill fast. And I don't think if he can make a comeback this year, Dabo Swinney might start to be on his way out.
Do you think so? Because really, I think that this is all that matters about Clemson. So I'm fine with doing it as somewhat of an aside. Do you think that Dabo, he feels like the only heir apparent to Nick Saban, in that he feels like a relic of a bygone era, that he would stay with Clemson for as long as they'll have him, since he was the one who brought them back into a national brand again. He has relevance, and I really do think that he would be able to pick up a job just like that. You believe though that he could ever be on a hot seat?
I think he could be on a hot seat. I think that just the way that the college landscape is, he's been there for so long. He's been there since 2009. Technically he's been there since 2003 in some capacity. He started as their wide receiver coach in 2003, assistant head coach in 2007, the interim head coach OC in 2008, and then from 2009 on, he's been the permanent head coach. He's got a pretty good record, 187-53. I think the issue we're seeing is he had a stretch where he just was able to be that elite recruiter, and he was able to get the Trevor Lawrences. He was able to get the all of the high-end talent. For a while, Clemson was
Sean Watson.
Yeah, they were considered wide receiver U for a little bit. I think that they had a lot of recruiter talent, and then ever since NIL started to be a thing, originally Dabo was one of the few coaches who was adamant about not using the transfer portal and dealing with NIL.
He took a Mike Krzyzewski, where Mike Krzyzewski, when he had to go to the whole recruitment thing and go to 1 years, when the college landscape changed in recruitment, he did not change and transition into that era gracefully, but he eventually got adjusted and acclimated to the changes. To his credit, Dabo has more than dipped his toes. He's probably up to his shins, but that's he's adjusting as much as he can.
You're seeing this with all the older coaches, though, aren't you? All the coaches that have been around for a while are struggling with the transfer portal and all this new college football landscape. Now, he has adjusted this year because he brought in 11 transfer portal guys. First time he's done that, right? Because he refused to do that. He did it all his old way. It doesn't work anymore. You're either gonna change, adopt, or die, right? That's college football now. And he's finally thinking, I better adopt, or I'm gonna be coaching high school somewhere.
And I think that's the problem. 11 is just not enough, I don't think, especially for a team that went 7-4 last year and lost in the Pinstripe Bowl.
But at least Pinstripe Bowl. But at least he's starting to do it.
Yeah, and that's the question: is will he adapt fast enough to not get fired beforehand? I think that we're in an era. I mean, we saw it with oh no, I'm blanking on his name now. Gundy over at Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
Like we're seeing it where we are in a changing of the guard type era where, I mean, James Franklin, he didn't even finish the season last year before he got fired. So I think that if we're going to start seeing a team like Clemson continue to not perform, this last year 7-6, the year before that 10-4, 9-4, like they are not that elite program that is a title contender anymore. And if they don't go back to that, I think eventually Dabo will be on his way out. Somebody will pick him up, though.
Oh, he plays extremely well in the South. Like I don't think you look at like Ralph's team over there in USC, and we'll get to them at the time. But should Lincoln Riley leave, even when they picked him up, they were able to kind of acclimate the two, be able to join the two brands in Lincoln Riley and him, because Lincoln Riley was even seen back then as more of a schemer than a recruiter. Dabo is very much the reverse of that. He's seen as a recruit and culture guy, which I don't know. Who knows how that plays in the modern NIL era, like because he's just building a culture, but it's mostly. But really, when you look at those teams he had, it was top tier. He was overloaded with talent. I mean, he had waves upon waves in the defensive line to where they were considered an unofficial SEC team. That they were the only.
Death Valley meant something, right? When you were in the Death Valley, it was like, oh no, we're going to go against that Clemson defense. This team is bad A. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry, it doesn't transfer the way he does things. He's a great recruiter and all that stuff, but the only way to recruit right now is by flashing the green. And if you don't flash the green, it doesn't matter. It's all about the green. And I don't mean the football field. So, I mean, that's the bottom line in today's recruiting in college football.
So speaking about flashing, the only way I'm going to read this is in a great tone. We do have Dan Grine on the chat line stating, and this is how I'm going to be reading it in an orgasmic fashion. Luke.
Wow.
I don't think that's what he was going for. But hi, Dan. That is Tanner Grine's father, for those of you who don't know, which is both of you.
Hello, Daddy Grine. How are we doing?
And he's going to hang up now. All right.
And
and he's like, okay, I've seen enough. I've shown my support. I don't need to listen to these chuckleheads anymore.
Well, thank you for
the ACC.
Yeah. Yes, back to the ACC.
Back to Miami.
So I think, are we all in agreement that we think Clemson is in a do or die mode, at least for the brand? Because this feels like they are fighting against what they have been versus what they possibly can be. I mean, this is really going to be the litmus test on how they age.
Clemson is probably they're probably the second best team in this conference this year. Yeah, they probably are. It's them and SMU, I would say. They're really close. Miami's the team. There's no doubt about it. It's their conference to have.
Yeah, so we're all in agreement. Nobody thinks Miami's taking a step back from where they were. I mean,
they shouldn't. It doesn't mean they won't, but they shouldn't.
They should not.
Out of question, while we're on the topic of Miami, because I did curtail us from there, and I do want to go back to it. Does anybody still have any questions about Mario Cristobal? Because for the longest time, his legacy and his reputation was he will lose you the big game. Like, not only does he choke, not only he will find a way to invent ways for you to lose the big game time and time again. And admittedly, having that many high pressure moments on a playoff run as lengthy as they had against quality opponents as they did, and even how well they fared in the championship game against the unfathomably deep and boisterous Indiana Hoosiers. They showed themselves well and didn't seem to blow it outside of maybe a Beck performance here or there. Did he successfully shed his previous reputation for you guys, or is that still lurking in the background? Is that still following him around for you?
I think for me personally, he's at least staved it off. I'm not, beating Ohio State to me was impressive.
That was impressive.
That was like that is the win that you can plant your flag on when you go recruit and you go to the transfer portal and you say, hey, look at what we did. We beat Ohio State. That is a good win to put on your resume. I think the Texas A&M win is fine. I think at the end of the day, whenever you have a 10-3 game, it's not too impressive of a win, but it's still a win. It's a playoff win. And then the Ole Miss win, I have to say, unfortunately, for better or worse, will always have that asterisk of Ole Miss was in such a weird position.
Lane Kiffinless era.
Yeah, but then to again lose in the championship by a final score of 27-21, and you making that comeback in the second half to be able to make it a competitive game. I do think that is something that he can hang his hat on for now, but we need to see it again. We need to see him continue it this year. His schedule last year was not particularly tough. So the fact that they had 2 losses was kind of a red flag. And their season this year is not particularly tough. So I need to see them get through this entire conference with 1 loss or undefeated.
I'm not a fan.
You're not a fan of Mario Cristobal?
No, I think he's a great recruiter. He can build a roster better than most. I think he's terrible at game day decisions. I think he's terrible on the field. And I think he proves that year in, year out. I think he proved it last year. I don't think he did a good job last year. Like Lou just said, easy schedule. That was a really talented roster. They probably should have won it all, but I just think he's very questionable on how he calls games. I don't like him on the sideline. I love him in someone's home and recruiting and building rosters. Hate him on the sideline. And I don't think that knock has gone away. I think it just showed itself again last year.
I mean, that's not true. I think to Luke's point, the way in which Miami got to the championship was respectable, to where they reminded me of a Patriots team of a bygone era where they were so malleable. They adjusted to whatever game the opposing team wanted to play. And while it's usually seen as a negative, it's a different tone whenever you say that you play up to the level of play that your opponent is demanding, right? Like, it's one thing if you're the Philadelphia Eagles and you're barely being able to squelch down last year's Raiders team, right? It's another if you are the Miami Hurricanes and this is the first time you've been back in the national stage, and a successful season would have just been making the playoffs, but you're able to overcome a highly defensive slobber knocker on the part of Texas A&M. You're able to score along with Mississippi State. And then you're able to meet pound for pound the barrage that was the Indiana Hoosiers and just came up just short. So that's where I am. It's going to take one more season for me before I can think in this current landscape of college football where the known brands of coaching are pretty much being phased out. I think that he stands pretty clearly as a top 10 coach, even if it's just by his own recruiting, by his recruiting pedigree. That alone is going to be able to get you something. Because I mean, again, while yes, the money matters, if it's negligible, if it's $2 million here, $2 million here, like you said, Ralph, I'd rather have Mario on my side than not. And plus, you at least know he believes in the product that he's selling. He's a Miami Hurricane through and through. They just re-upped him this season. They had no need to, but they did.
Best team on the field, but if you can't win, his test will be against Notre Dame this year. They have a big game against Notre Dame, and we'll see how they do. If they lose that game, you're probably having the conversation again.
That is a game, and I don't know when we'll talk about Notre Dame since they infamously are not in the Power Four. But that is a game that Notre Dame will need to win. Like, that is a game that Notre Dame will be hungry for, will be salivating for, because if they don't win that game, good luck. Good luck getting into the playoffs, sincerely, because I think that the voters will hold that against them.
With their schedule, Miami, they can go 11-1, but if they start floundering, I could see a 9-3 season out of these guys.
Yeah.
But we all agree it's there. As I look through the rest of the ACC, the only other kind of topic that I think that we can possibly go around is, and I know it's I don't mean to, when I say kicking around the topic, I don't mean to also kick on the person. Does anybody have any belief in North Carolina of like doing anything this year with Bill Belichick? I mean, they've had a tumultuous offseason to some degree.
I have faith in North Carolina State. Go Wolfpack.
Is feisty.
I don't think that. I think that we are watching somebody who went from in real time. We have seen somebody go from arguably the one of, if not the greatest NFL head coach of all time, to a laughing stock who has done everything possible to ruin his own legacy. I don't know if outside of like crimes, looking at you, OJ, but like outside of like killing someone, I don't know if we have seen a head coach ruin their own legacy as badly as we're seeing Bill Belichick right now. I really, without, again, like I said, without involving anything like illegal happening.
Ralph, do you think that, I mean, we just had this conversation with Dabo, but I'm curious, is there a situation where you could find North Carolina would fire Bill Belichick in the middle of the season if it just goes disastrously?
I don't, out of respect for what he's done in his career, I don't see that happening. I see him stepping down maybe midway through, but I don't see him announcing that he got fired. I don't think that'll ever happen because they're going to respect what he is and what he's done. He's done a great job as an NFL coach, but this game in college does not transfer again for him. This is not a good place. This is never a good fit. This program is not even a good fit. It's never really been a good program. This is a bottom tier program that's always rebuilding. You know, hey, we're constantly rebuilding because you can never get the talent you really need to actually get better. You hit once in a rare while on a good player and you have a decent season, but you're always going to be down as a general. This year, I see them probably a 5-7 team, probably finish 15th or 16th in the conference. They're not good. He's not going to do anything to make him better. I think they were counting on the fact that his name would bring recruits, and it didn't work because these young guys don't care. Again, it's not about, I can play for Bill Belichick. It's about how much are you going to pay me? Well, nobody cares.
And even then, the ones who do want to play for Bill Belichick, the ones who would have that mentality of wanting to play with Bill Belichick, we got to remember these kids are 18 years old.
Yep.
they are 17 years old when they're recruited. They're 16-year-old when they're being recruited. By the time, like, they have grown up, and for the solid portion of their life of what they can remember of watching NFL, Belichick was not the greatest of all time.
Right.
His last 4 or 5 years with the Patriots was not good.
Cam Newton years.
Yeah, like they do not, when they see Bill Belichick, they just see, oh yeah, that's that guy that my dad told me about cheating a bunch and was carried by Tom Brady, who then went on to win another Super Bowl somewhere else. Like, I think that the younger generation did not grow up. The generation at that point being recruited, they did not grow up with Belichick being the GOAT. They grew up with him being just a guy who had some success before I cared about football.
Right.
The second sexiest commentator perennially, that is joins in on the show, has chimed in saying, "Don't forget about Bobby Petrino as the OC at UNC this year." Of course,
take two wins away from him.
Yeah, no kidding, absolutely. Just drive themselves over the foot.
Can I just say one more thing about the ACC?
Yes, please.
It makes me happy as a former Pac-10 guy, and I do say Pac-10, not Pac-12. As a former Pac-10 guy, that's the real conference, it makes my heart warm that I predict Stanford to finish in dead last in the ACC this year. I can't stand Stanford. I hate Stanford. Never liked them. I could see them at the 3-9 season, and they are going to be the horrendous team in the ACC.
I suppose the only just to not a dabble, but a dabble on it. Florida State do anything for you, Luke?
Florida State, not really.
Yeah.
I have nothing for Florida State.
That's fair.
I don't think they're going to be exactly what they were last year. Subpar team. I do truly like North Carolina State, though.
Fair enough. So the question becomes, before we leave the ACC, does anybody feel confident that there's another playoff team here in the ACC besides Miami?
Yeah, I think Clemson or SMU can be. I think it's very possible. I know you guys aren't thinking Clemson could be that good, but let's even go to SMU. I mean, there's a shot there. They play Notre Dame as well, so that'll be a big game for them. But I can see them at 10-2, and at 10-2, not only do they have a shot at winning the conference, but they have a shot at placement. We'll see.
I do think that, I mean, not for a playoff this year, but I do think Virginia Tech is going to upset either Clemson or Miami. They play them later in the year, and of course, we remember that their coach is just there, recently disgraced from Penn State. And remember, James Franklin always fails under pressure and expectations. He gets a grace period the first year. He's got a great recruitment base. The program is putting a lot of infrastructure there for which he can succeed. I think it's possible that he can pull an upset that would be at the loss of another program more so than the benefit of his own. But I think it's possible that they can play spoiler later on in the year, especially once you've gotten a little bit further into the season and they're able to kind of become comfortable with each other. Watch out for that one late season. That is my only.
I think they're my sleeper.
Yeah.
I have them listed as my sleeper, and big game with them will be week 12. That's when they play Miami.
Yeah.
They're in a good place at that point, and they can beat Miami. Look out.
All right.
My sleeper, as I've already said multiple times, give me the Wolfpack. I think CJ. I really like CJ Bailey. I think that he is a candidate for the Davey O'Brien Award, I think is the quarterback one. But I think that he will carry the team as far as they go. I don't know how far that will necessarily be, but however far they get will be on the back of CJ Bailey. He is a big 6'6" kid who is capable of running the ball, but makes smart decisions on when to run the ball. And I think that he is going to be dynamite this year.
Dynamite. All right. So the Big Ten Conference is the second patty in the double-double that we will be unfolding today, that we will be retrieving from the buns of deliciousness. So here we go. Big Ten. Look, we started at the top with the ACC. Let's start at the top here in the Big Ten. There's so much to go through because Big Ten infamously does not host 10 teams anymore. 18 by last count. They might have added a team or two since last I checked. You know, who knows? But of course, the story of college football last year, an era-defining win for the championship and perhaps the hearkening of a new era in the NIL era. And only time will tell whether or not more credit will be divided between Fernando Mendoza or his coach. But Indiana Hoosiers won last year, undefeated season. Do we think that it is possible that this team, maybe not undefeated, because really that is just unforeseen, but let's just even start simply. Can they win the Big Ten one more season this year, Ralph?
I mean, yeah, they can. I mean,
they can.
They can. I don't think they will, but I mean, they can. They've got. I think
Ohio State
quarterback, Josh Hoover. This guy has experience. He's not some guy that's never played. I mean, so this guy can do some stuff. You know, for me, it's interesting. Signetti did a great job last year, got a good talent together. It wasn't all just top tier talent. It was just good fitting talent that he put together that played really well as a team, right? Granted, you had the number one pick in Mendoza, who I think was a stud, but you just had a lot of really mid-level guys that played really good together. And it was kind of like watching a couple of other teams in the NFL that just didn't have like any great top talent teams, but they play really well as a team. I think this team did a great job last year. This is interesting year for him as a coach. Can he get close to what he did last year? I think he can. Obviously, not going to be undefeated. I think they lose 2-3 games this year, but I still think they're a top 4 team in this conference, and they will make noise. I'm really curious to see their game against Ohio State in October, how that goes. I think that'll be a season-defining game. They're not going to win it again. They're not going to go undefeated. I'd say 2 losses, probably, maybe a third. You know how hard it is when you go from an undefeated program and you get that first loss that next year? How do you bounce back from it? Do you just get back on track, or do you start floundering because of it? And that'll be a real concern, because some of these kids have never lost a game in college, and it's going to be, how are they going to react to it? They didn't have to go through that last year. So I think that'll be interesting to watch. I think they're a top 4 team in the conference, but they don't win it.
Oh, okay. Great point there on the first win post undefeated season there, Ralph. Truly. Luke, they're at home for Ohio State. They're at the Big House against Michigan. And I guess take your pick on at home versus USC or at Washington, depending. I mean, those two could be surprise. Okay, never mind, I guess.
Washington is who we're elevating to this tier? Washington.
No.
The Huskies?
Fair enough. Okay. I thought out of
They're no Wolves. They're no wolf pack.
They're husky. But so at least 2 out of their 3 they're at home for, 2 of their 3 big games. Do you find a stumble here? Do you think that they dominate on their way towards just etching their stone into as perennial playoff contender?
I have to imagine that there will be a loss. It is so hard to go undefeated. It is. I don't know if we've had a team go undefeated 2 seasons in a row.
Oh, Boise State, how dare you?
Yeah, I said what I said. I think that this is just like, I don't know where the loss is going to be, because they are fortunate enough to where I think that their 2 toughest games will be at home. And I don't think Michigan's going to be that special this year, to be perfectly honest. So like, I really just, I'll say they lose to Ohio State. I'll say that they lose to Ohio State, and that's their only loss.
It feels like Ohio State is just due to take that win back, right?
I think so. I will say that they kind of did luck out with only having to play Ohio State this year. They didn't have to play both them and Oregon. So I don't think they'll go back to back, but I think that they end up with just 1 loss.
Are you an OU guy?
Oklahoma?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that why you ignored that the 94-95 Nebraska teams went undefeated multiple years and won national championships? Went 25-0?
I don't consider them a real football program.
Ralph loves himself some pettiness, even if it's not on his own half.
Yeah,
And it's just
no, that's not a real football program.
You got to remember, in the Big Ten, we're not even talking about the Oregon Ducks. What about the Ducks?
I was going to say, yeah. So we've got some other programs here to talk about. So, all right. So Ralph, if you're not big on the Hoosiers to win again, it sounds like you're salivating here to talk about the Ducks. Are they who you predict to win it all?
Well, I've got 3 teams that I think can win this conference. To me, it's either Oregon, Ohio State, and yes, I'm going to say it, USC. I think one of those 3 teams can win. Shocker, right? Oregon, for me, is the most intriguing because Dante Moore came back. Dante Moore has a lot to prove this year, because Dante Moore, if he has the year we think he can have, is probably your number 1 pick in the draft next year. So he's an interesting player. He's guy's full of talent. He can do some amazing stuff back there. I'm really looking forward to see how he gets going. This could be a 12-0 national championship team. Very, very possible. This is a very strong team. They're going to be very hard to beat. I think they're probably the best team in the conference, with Ohio State right behind them. But I think they're probably the best team in the conference. Ohio State's right there behind them, and I think SC is right there behind Ohio State. This is the games that we see, but I think they play Ohio State in November. That's going to be the game, right? To see whoever wins that might be the winner of the conference. That's a big game. we'll see what happens there. And I think SC, does SC play them? I know SC plays Ohio State in October.
SC plays them. It's their first big game of the year.
26th in September. So that's a huge game for SC more than anybody. If SC beats Oregon on the 26th, and then they can come back on the 31st of October and beat Ohio State, man, they're in line. And then they get Indiana the week after that. We'll see where Indiana is at that time. But they have a path to winning this conference. But I think Ohio State and Oregon are the two top teams right now that you have to look at.
All right. So before we go further, we do have to catch up on the text line here. Your brother over there, Dom, is saying no, he does not believe that Indiana will win back-to-back Big Ten conference championships. He also
Boomer Sooner, dude.
Boomer Sooner. And he is highly doubtful of USC.
It's because he's a UCLA guy, too. He hates USC.
Oh, wow. That's awful. UCLA
guy. He's just being a hater.
And
you
of course,
have to be a hater when you go for UCLA. They suck. So,
and of course, Moan Dan over there says
we're not doing that.
We're not doing that.
I'm gonna put my foot down on that one.
Fantastic. We're done. All right. Is talking to Tanner, saying Booby Petrino, born in Lewistown, Montana. Shout out to the Golden Eagles. Caw-caw.
They are both from Montana.
In
case anyone needed some explanation there.
Luke, are you as high on the Ducks as what Ralph's quacking about over here?
Quack.
He's a big
quack.
No,
quack.
This is shameful out of you as an
ASU. I didn't know that.
Alum.
I absolutely am on board. I think that out of all of the powerhouses of the Big Ten, I believe Oregon is returning the most amount of players. I know they're returning the most amount of starts by a fairly considerable margin. I think that basically this is it for Oregon. There have been way too many years in a row where it's been will they, won't they? They're so good every year. But again, much like James Franklin and Penn State, they can never actually win the big games that they need to win, including that absolutely embarrassment of a loss in the semifinals last year against Indiana. This is, to me, their last shot. They can't afford to screw it up this time. So I think that I'm just going to push it all in the middle on Oregon for the Big Ten this year. I really like Dante Moore. I think that him coming back will help his stock next year, and it will help Oregon this year.
Yeah. I also, you got to enjoy that even with Dante Moore returning, they were still able to recruit Dylan Raiola. So I mean, they're the rare college football team that has depth. I don't want Raiola to be starting for a lot of these big games, but the fact that you have him, it's kind of like the idea of what if you're looking in the NFL, Jacoby Brissett is normally in the NFL, where he's the best backup, where just you want a solid guy. And the fact that you have one adds to that. As far as the Oregon Ducks,
Luke made a great point. He said the Ducks are 37-0 against teams that didn't make the championship game in the last 3 seasons, but they're 1-5 against teams that made it. That's a crystal ball problem. I mean, that's a problem.
Well, but does it not speak to the fact that at least you're losing to top quality? I mean, a lot of teams. But I mean, a lot of teams. It's one thing if you lose to the eventual champions, right? If you're the Nuggets, right, and you're losing to the Minnesota Timberwolves, who are the team that lost to the team that lost to the team, that's a step down for you, right? You realize that you've got problems that you got to face. However, if you're the Oklahoma City Thunder, or I guess let's go with the San Antonio Spurs, and you're looking over and you lost to the New York Knicks, who at least won it all, versus like the Oklahoma City Thunder, who lost to the team that lost to the team. There's levels of worry on this. Is worrisome that we're losing to lesser quality. Just because we lost to the eventual champion, you at least have some salve. You at least have something to soothe yourself over, saying that going forward, we at least know that we lost to, if not a quality opponent, the quality opponent.
We're good, but not good enough.
But that's the problem. It's fine if it happens once or twice. When it happens the third, fourth, and fifth time, it's just a continual problem of you are not good enough.
So to be clear, you guys will be disappointed if they do not run the table?
Yeah, I would.
I would be you're saying, would I be disappointed if they don't go undefeated?
Undefeated.
I
don't know about
I think so.
I'd be more disappointed if they don't win a national title. I think this team is primed to do it. They could be 11-1 and win a national title. I can see that.
I mean, shoot, they could even be 10-2. And
it's title or bust for this team.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think that that's true. It will be an uncomfortable season if they get there with like 2 losses. But I mean, they can pull a Ryan Day of yesteryear, where that was an ugly route to the championship. But at the end of the day, they won the championship, and that's why Ryan Day is still there. Speaking of Ryan Day, let's talk about his Ohio State Buckeyes team. We've mullied around as the big game for a lot of other teams on their schedule in the Big Ten, in both Hoosiers and Oregon Ducks. The fact that Ohio State has to play them both during the regular season, I mean, I don't think any of us can knock Ohio State as championship contenders. They are worthy of there. They, of course, were upset last year in a good showing of a game, but they have a tough schedule. Does anybody think that they can fall short of expectations? I mean, just to get off the ground in game two, they got to go at Texas on a very meaningful game for both teams.
Their biggest concern that I have listed, and this is legit, is they lost 5 defenders in the first 2 rounds of the draft, right?
Yeah.
So you got to replace 5 NFL draft day guys on your defense. The offense will do what it does. They're going to score points, right? But that defense may give up a lot of points, and their schedule is a little tougher this year than it was last year. So this team could be a team that we're all sitting here thinking, this is a great team. They could run it, but this could be a team that just has a down year because of the changeover on D and the schedule. We could see them going 9-3, 8-4. That's a possibility.
I mean,
I don't think it will happen, but it's possible.
They're at Texas. They're at Indiana.
Yeah.
They're at USC. I mean,
You're telling me that USC
is not usually like a raucous home environment. It will be for that.
Yeah.
It will be for that game. Shoot. And then they end the season versus Michigan. I mean, this is a team that I think because of the quality of their schedule, they will be able to sneak into the playoffs with 2 losses because, you know, you're still going to have 2 quality wins regardless of not whether you get 2 quality losses. But that being said, Luke, I mean, we're talking about Oregon being we would be upset if Oregon lost a game here. I expect Ohio State to lose a game. I might even expect them to lose 2.
I got to be honest. I mean, like we said, Texas, Maryland, Indiana, USC, Oregon.
What a shout out for Maryland.
Yeah.
You
Shout out Terrapins.
You said Maryland.
I said Maryland.
Really?
Okay.
That was a mistake?
That's my surprise performer.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
Malik Washington,
Very
Dewan
surprising.
Williams. Yeah. No.
Great.
Maryland. Let's just say they're probably pretty happy that they get to be at home against Maryland. Okay. You don't want to have to travel to Maryland.
Far be it for me to
Maryland's
question
one of the worst teams in the conference. What are you?
I know.
I don't know what you're talking
Anyways,
about.
interrupted you. So sorry, Luke.
Anyways.
You keep going on whatever it was you were helping.
I think that this is it's a brutal schedule. Like I think that they will be lucky to get just 2 losses.
I mean, even Illinois. I mean, Illinois is certainly no
Iowa?
pushover.
Going to Iowa is a surprisingly tough game. I think Iowa will be competitive. But I don't think that they're going to win just because they simply. It's hard to believe that they're going to be able to win every single one of those games. It's going to be difficult to believe that they're going to only lose one of them, especially because it's not even like they get a break. They have to go
versus
play Maryland and then Indiana and then USC and then Oregon. They get a little bit of a break with Northwestern and Nebraska, and then they have to end the year with Michigan. That's just such a tough, 5-game stretch there between Maryland and Oregon.
Don't they start with Texas too in Texas?
No.
That's
they start
week
versus
2.
Ball State. So,
Week
week
2
2 at
Yes.
Texas.
And Texas will be pissed considering how last year went.
No, Luke, they won't even be pissed. Texas needs that game. I mean, we'll get to SEC when they did, but look at Texas's schedule. they need the Ohio State win in order to make sure that they have some flood, because people are down in the SEC as a whole for the first time ever in generations in an era. But Texas will need that game. They won't even have the luxury to just play it emotionally and give up a game. They will need that game. So Ohio State is facing some very tough competition. I will say props to them for, I guess, not being in their conference, but at least being able to take the Texas game on their out of conference schedule, especially because a lot of teams will duck those games. No pun intended with the Oregon schedule on their slate. But I truly have to appreciate all that it is that Ohio State is doing to build them. This is the affordability that you'll get. As I stated earlier, I think it cannot be swept under the rug. Ohio State, simply because of their schedule, I will be far more lenient on them getting 2, maybe even 3. Like they would get 3 losses for me, and I would consider them. I would consider them for that last place thing, depending on how good their other wins were. I would consider them, as opposed to even a 1-loss Clemson team.
Sorry to interrupt.
Go ahead.
To add on to your point, to make your question harder, because this is something the committee will have to consider now. Do you purposely bump Notre Dame out of the top 12?
Oh, yeah.
For a team like this?
100%. Well, see, where I think, and we can talk about the semantics of it all, the Notre Dame of it all, given the clause that they have, if they are a top 12 team, they're automatically in the playoffs.
Yeah.
If I'm a voter, I'm keeping that into my account the entire time. They have to earn their way into that top 12 spot regardless, because I know I will be hit upon publicly, and I will be publicly I will edge on the side of keeping them lower and earn your way in, as opposed to what we've been doing in the past couple of years and what everybody's upset by, where you have to justify dropping them from week to week after quality losses. No more of that. I will be keeping them, even with a win against Miami. They will be number 13. They will be 13 until the end of the season, until I determine at some point in time, you know what? Everybody else failed their way into it. You're 100% right, Luke. Like, Notre Dame has to mollywop Miami. Different conversation. Ohio State, and the Ohio State of it all, they have bought themselves with a schedule such as this 2 losses. Even if it is an ugly last loss, even if it's that they don't get a championship appearance because of those 2 losses, they get the benefit of the doubt because of this schedule that they have. One last team that has had a tumultuous offseason, even end of their season. But I think it's worth mentioning because I think we've all agreed that they are a team that serves as an upset spoiler on just the biggest brand possible, really. Does anybody have any thoughts on Michigan being a legitimate playoff contention? Because keep in mind, they do have a quarterback there that was the number 1 quarterback 2 seasons ago, recruit, and he's still there. They've still got a lot of talent. I think at the time, all of us enjoyed their hiring of their current head coach, who comes in and is kind of a treading water head coach. Does anybody have any thoughts that they could be a playoff team in their current iteration?
No.
Over there,
not at all.
I've lost him.
They're
just being relegated to a tough out for everybody.
Wow. I don't even know if I'm considering them that tough of an out.
Wow.
Ohio State. Ohio State, I will, because
of course
that rivalry will always make that a tough out. It's the same thing with OU Texas. I don't care where either of those teams are ranked. When they meet each other, all bets are off on what could happen. So I just think that outside of the emotional games, I think Michigan's just going to kind of be a middle of the road. I don't think that they picked the right head coach, to be honest with you. I think you needed somebody younger, and you needed somebody who was a better recruiter than the guy who took like 30 years to build up an elite program, and he doesn't have another 30 years in him.
I guess my question then, as we begin to descend from the Big Ten, is the only coach in the Big Ten that is on a determined, and I want to say determined, hot seat going to be Lane Kiffin over in USC? Like, Ralph, even you, the USC homer, have to agree.
Riley, right?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Lincoln-
Yes, I'm
Lincoln
sorry. I
Riley.
just in my research I just saw Lincoln. Yes, Lincoln Riley. Even you have to agree that he is probably number one on the hottest seat as far as high-profile coaches across the college football landscape.
I think he is. This is a very talented USC team. And they've even done a good job, I think, of rebuilding the defense. And they brought in new coordinator.
Gary Patterson.
Yeah, Patterson, who has done amazing things with defenses. Look what he did at TCU. This
20
guy,
years ago.
yeah, but this guy he's number one nationally defensive teams 5 times. This guy can build a defense. Their defense, I think, is they rebuilt it nicely. Their only question mark is going to be the young guys at linebacker. They finally have, in my opinion, a Big Ten defensive line. It took this many years to get there, but I think their defensive line is finally there. I think their secondary is elite. It's just the linebackers are going to be young, so we'll see how they do it. I love their offense, except they do have to replace 2 guys that went to the NFL as receivers, right? So
Lemon and
yeah.
yeah.
So that's going to be tough. So he's got pressure on him because they've got the youth to replace the receivers. They've got the defense, I think, finally to be in place. This team should do some damage this year for the first time, and they should be a playoff team. I think if they don't make the playoffs, he's probably gone. He has to make the playoffs this year. They're a playoff or bust team. I'm not saying they need to win a national championship, but they better make the playoffs.
This team, we just talked about Ohio State having the schedule that affords them 2 losses. This team, the USC, has the schedule that allows them 1 loss, but also has the schedule that, because remember, last year was the year that we thought it would all click together because of how soft the schedule was. If memory serves, the only tough game that they really had when you looked at it prior to the season beginning was at Oregon. This year, they, again, face Oregon. And now without Notre Dame, that really takes a hit on the quality of their schedule. But they make up for it in a home game versus Ohio State. And then they have to go to at Indiana back-to-back weeks. That will determine their season. If they can split those 1-1 on either case, I mean, even perhaps not even in Ohio State. Like you might need the Indiana Hoosiers win in order to secure a playoff spot if Ohio State's just absolutely crumbling by that point, which is possible. It's not likely, but it's possible.
If they're 8-1 or 9-0 when they go to face Ohio State, we're talking game of the year, USC Ohio State. I mean, you're talking this is the game. If they win this game, they're probably going to take the Big Ten, and they're probably a playoff team.
That could be an elimination game by that point of playoff consideration. That could be a crown, like a consideration of who makes the championship game. I mean, it's highly likely that USC, if they were to do well within their schedule, they're playing a rematch in the conference championship game, let alone in the playoffs. And really, it's just a make or break season for Lincoln Riley. I mean, looking throughout all this, he's had the time, he's had the tenure. I don't know that USC has another big hire available to them. But I don't think that they will stand for one more season of this, because really they have the tenured quarterback. Even they have somebody who has all the weapons and availability to them. This is a team that has far underperformed for season in, season out, and we've given them every single excuse possible. It's time to start paying up on those dues.
Well, it's been the defense, right? Maava made leaps and bounds last year. I mean, he really put himself in the forefront last year. It's been the defensive play. So even though they weren't horrible as they were the previous year, they got to be better. And I just think the biggest problem was they were never big enough up front to handle the Big Ten offenses. And I feel they finally fixed that. So we'll see. I mean, I know there's certain chats here that don't think that, but we do. You know, I want you to read Dominic's chat, but I got to do something first.
Okay.
We do the flag thing, we know what we're getting ourselves into.
He is all about plant flagging.
All right, so I believe for Thanksgiving, Dom will be bringing over a flag with which to plant upon Ralph's turkey that he will be taking freshly out of the oven, because he says Lincoln will be fired after he loses to UCLA on the last game of the season. Plant the flag. That's what he said.
It suck.
That's what. Oh my gosh! Could you imagine losing that game?
So
would be utterly deflating for no matter what. Even if you were undefeated, that would be the only excuse with which you can lose that last game. Outside of that, and even then. Of course, also on there, Tanner is on the chat line saying, "Quick Max spotlight: Are the Weekend Warriors buying Akron season tickets and entering the lottery to become the OC for the home opener drive?" In case you have missed this story, in order to drive season ticket sales, Akron is saying that you can work in conjunction with the coach in order to call the first series of the opening game of their schedule. Yes, that is something. I mean,
would do that. I would call a punt on first down. You'd have to do it.
I'm very curious. I don't know.
What are the considerations in there? Yeah.
Well, I'm wondering in the terms and conditions if they have something to stop that, because I also heard a bunch of people saying like the opposing team or the opposing team's fans are entering in so that they can make them do that and like blow the first drive. So I'm wondering if there is somewhere in the terms and conditions that state that if they feel the need to, the coaches can override what your first drive thing to stop people like Ralph who just want to ruin fun things.
Kneel down, punt.
Yeah.
I have to imagine that within there, where I think that this works and in the fine print, it's going to be something closer to, I forget what league did this, but remember where it was like the fans vote on one of the 3 plays and like the winning play gets to be called, where it's like they'll give you 3. I'm thinking that that's what the OC is going to present them. 3,
they'll do like a Madden,
like
a Madden thing, like
yes,
here are your choices.
Yeah, here are your choices, your 3 plays that you get to do.
No, that's not right. I don't want that.
I'm thinking that's ridiculous. I'm thinking
it's also ridiculous to punt on the first play as a joke. So
I get power. What if I do a play like we're at a 20-yard run back, just run the other way 20 yards and go on the knee?
And Ralph will want his season ticket seat memorialized and hoisted into the rafters as he is remembered.
And I want a headset.
As the massive punt, he wants a headset. You want a challenge flag too while you're at it, Ralph?
I do. I want to throw it from the stands.
I bet you do. Yeah, like Mike Vrabel did that other day. Yeah.
Well, he challenged.
All right.
Things, but
so I think that's all the big highlights here. I mean, before we kind of go in, who wants to talk about Maryland over here?
Nobody, because they're terrible.
Maryland's going to surprise people.
Yeah,
so
they will surprise people.
What are the official predictions here? Are we all in agreement? So it sounds like you both are saying that Oregon will be winning the conference this year. Yes.
Yes.
Good shot. Yeah.
Good shot. I don't know. I'll probably go Oregon with you guys too, just to be unanimous. Are we all feeling good about Indiana making the playoffs? Yes.
Bubble team.
Possibly.
Yeah, they're a bubble team.
Bubble team. And then Ohio State. Is it possible that all 3 of them make it?
I think it's very possible.
They did it last year. And then what? USC as well for you, Ralph?
Bubble team. I mean, yeah, I think you have 3 or 4 teams from this conference that could make the playoffs.
I think USC is going to be a huge disappointment, and they're going to be out of it.
You suck.
Lincoln Riley's going to be fired. Gary Patterson has been washed for 15 years now.
Gosh.
It's very convenient that you talk about the 5 times they finished number 1 in yards.
Yes.
But you didn't mention that in his last 10 years at TCU, his defenses only finished in the top 25 in yards twice.
That's because fans were calling plays.
Yeah. So Gary Patterson's washed. He's not going to help. Lincoln Riley is a bum. I don't know how he's lasted this long. He has He has as many losses in the last 2 years at USC as he did at all 5 years in Oklahoma combined.
Well, 2 reasons for that. Number 1, Oklahoma doesn't play anybody.
And they're better than USC.
And they just have a weak schedule. They don't play anybody. So, of course, they're part of that big, You
were playing in the Pac-12. Let's relax, buddy.
Big 12. I mean, it's weak. I can't believe we're going to be talking about the Big 12 next week. It's not even a power conference. There's not a good team in there.
I believe the Big 12 has more success than USC does.
I don't think so.
I believe so. In the past probably 10 years.
I feel like Lincoln Riley touched you or something. I think there's something going on here.
He's a terrible human being.
Did he touch you?
I legitimately believe part of the reason why USC is so bad with him is because the way he left Oklahoma.
See, it's all this is. This is trauma. He touched
sports
him.
Gods.
You know what? They can fire him. That's fine. Let's bring back what's his name?
Pete Carroll.
Pete Carroll.
Bring back Pete Carroll.
Oh my God, that would be awful. Okay, so outside of that, much to nobody's surprise, at least for just reveal. Luke's surprise feisty team out of this group is going to be the Maryland Terrapins.
It's ridiculous.
It's so out of this world. I'll go a little more conventional, weird as that may be. I'm going to go the Fighting Illini as my feisty team. That's probably going to upset somebody this year. Yeah, I'm somehow going to go out on a limb saying that, they'll probably take out they'll probably take out a late stage Oregon. That's where I'm thinking that they'll go, just to make things feisty. And then who do you got, Ralph, as your feisty team that might get a meaningful upset here?
I want to say Iowa, but man, they just have such a problem scoring. Their defense is so good. But if they could just get something clicking on offense, they can beat anybody with that defense, especially in Iowa. So, I mean, they would be that team that can give us an upset or two. I can see that.
Okay, so there we go. We've gone through our entire double, extra cheesy. Grill those onions. Delicious.
Maryland,
the Terrapins.
Ever.
Record it. Cut it up.
I've got
Make the clip.
So worst pick ever.
What are the parameters upon which you are successful in that? Like, they just need to get one upset win, like one ranked win. Is that all that?
So last year they were 4-8. I think this year they will be
4-8.
What even is their schedule? Who could they possibly?
I think they get at least 7 wins this year.
Oh my God.
7. Oh my God. That's recorded.
Clip it.
Oh my God.
At Ohio State. That'll be fun.
I don't think that they're gonna beat Ohio State. That part might have been me having a little fun. I do legitimately think that they have a shot at 7 wins. Hampton, UConn, UCLA, Purdue, Wisconsin, Rutgers, Virginia Tech.
Wow.
I don't believe in Illinois. Sorry, Illinois fans.
5 and 7.
First of all, 5 and 7 would be an improvement.
Would be an improvement.
So,
all right.
I think they will be 500 or better.
500 or that is truly insane. And I hope the worst for you. All right, so we are moving along from one football field to the next in the NFL, and of course, it is going to be a Seahawks heavy day, unfortunately, because the Seahawks have broken news prior to us. It's the first time, it feels like, in quite some time that breaking news happened upon the precipice of the show, and unfortunately, of course, it's Seahawks news with cornerback Devin Weatherspoon getting a massive extension. We talked about a lot of extensions last week. However, this one is a substantial one in that there's a 4-year, $132 million extension with $101 million guaranteed, makes the 25-year-old cornerback the highest paid per average cornerback for the year. Of course, drafted in 2023 at number 5. Side note, I'm sure Ralph remembers this. 2023, a great draft. On the case of Schneider over there with drafting JSN at 20th overall. Ralph, why mosey about? Do you hate this move as well because you hate giving away money to guys who are deserving of it and coming into their prime?
Wow. No, I love this move. And you can't look at it as Devin Witherspoon cornerback because he does so much more than just cornerback. He plays all over the defense. So he's a big part of this defense's identity. And that's why this is a great payday. You need this guy. He leads your defense. I mean, they go as he goes. And he's just the guy. He's Mr. Energy. He's Mr. Motor. He plays everywhere. I mean, when he's on the field, this defense is elite. They're already kind of elite. With him, they're over the top. Him and Emin are just unbelievable together. I love this move. Lock this guy in. You don't want to ever lose a guy like this. He is your identity, as I just said. So, no, great move by John Schneider, who spends money in the right places when they need to. I love Witherspoon, and I love this move. This will come with more rings, in my opinion.
We'll get to Bitter Dolphin fans comment here in a moment, but sticking on Devin Witherspoon, Luke, my only concern about this, and we kind of discussed this about before the show, is that these moves, while understandable, but when you start getting to across the board, even this very same Seattle Seahawks team has done this before, where they fell in love with their team, It seemed like a young and up-and-coming team, and especially when there's defensive stalwarts there. And then they committed to them, made them highest paid across the board. And then what do we see? We start to see that is the team that they have. And especially in football, that team can age erroneous, like very at an accelerated pace. Is there any pause or concern about signing an extension with and making a highest paid cornerback here, Luke?
There's a little bit of concern. I think if you just look at it on paper, skill-wise, I get it. It makes sense. Ralph's correct. He's the heart of the defense. He makes it run. My concern is he played 12 games last year. My concern is his rookie year, he played 14 games. My concern is we've already given out a lot of money to JSN. We've now giving out a lot of money to Devon Witherspoon. And like you said, we are locking in the team for the future, which, don't get me wrong, if the team stays how it was last year, that's great. You want that multiple times. On the flip side, your depth will continue to go down every year, or at least the consistency of it, I should say. You're going to have to hope that every single draft pick John Schneider does will continue to hit. And he's done so far a pretty good job at being able to do it. But also, it's a lot easier to do it when you can still have the money to spend. If you do win another Super Bowl, this move will make it worth it. But again, you will then lose even more big pieces that want to get paid that you can no longer afford, because now you not only have the Super Bowl tax on their contract, you have the either back-to-back Super Bowl tax or just the 2 and 3 years tax, however it ends up breaking out. So there is a little bit of concern for me, but at the end of the day, I think it's a good contract. I think it is the right move. And the concern only becomes a concern if you continue to win, which I think for the most part, Seahawks fans would be fine with having this problem 2 or 3 years down the road if it means they've won another Super Bowl and are in contention for a third. Like, I think at the end of the day, this is just something that you have to do now, and then trust in John Schneider, who has proven to you that he has earned your trust. Yeah, you should have your trust.
Why you didn't sign, oh my gosh.
Terrion Arnold?
No, the running back.
Oh,
Kenneth Walker.
This is why you didn't give Walker the money he wanted for things like this, right? You know that position was replaceable, which they did with the draft, which I think they got a hell of a draft pick. But this is why you didn't give Sam Darnold any kind of more money, because you have him on a great contract, right? So you don't have to dish him $60 million a year. These are the things that allow you to make these kinds of moves. And I think that's why John Schneider is what he is, in my opinion, the best GM in the game, arguably the best GM in the game. So I agree with everything you just said. I mean, just if you have that problem 3 years down the road, that's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
Right. And you figure it out. I think they learned a lot from Russell Wilson, and when they gave him all that money and what it did to them, they learned that it handcuffed them so badly that they couldn't do much after that. And they don't want to be back in that position. So it'll be interesting to see what happens a few years down the road.
And if we stick around with the Seahawks, in order to talk about what happens whenever Devon Witherspoon takes time off, we would need to talk about their depth. They bolstered their depth, did the Seahawks, by signing Terrion Arnold, a former first-round pick on the part of the Lions, signed him to a minimum contract, a 1-year minimum contract. And, of course, Bitter Dolphin fans on the chat line saying, Ralph, any concern bringing in Terrion Arnold? Again, I'll let you go first here, Ralph.
No, not at all. I mean, there's no risk in this. You gave him nothing, but you got an elite player. I mean, this is a guy that a couple of years ago they were looking to draft, and they lost out to the Lions. The guy goes to the Lions, and he struggled in the Lions scheme. He's not that guy, but he's more fit for what Seattle runs on defense. So you put this guy opposite Witherspoon on the corner, oh my goodness, you may have the best duo in the game. So this has the potential, the ceiling, to be an unbelievable move for Seattle. Now you look at the legal issues. Yeah, they're legit. They're there. This guy's facing life in prison.
8 felony charges.
Yeah, 8 felony charges. But I'm going to trust John Schneider and Mike McDonald that they did their due diligence on this. I know that they consulted a lot with Jayden Milroe, who was a teammate of Arnold's over in Alabama, who knew him, who talked a lot about his character and everything else. So I don't know the story behind of what happened with the kidnapping and this, and I have no idea what happened. I'm not going to pretend to know that, but I'm more interested in what is this guy in the locker room. And according to Milroe and according to the feeling that Schneider and McDonald got when he came out and met with them, they felt he's a good fit. That locker room is so strong that one guy can't come in and be that cancer and do anything to it. They would just get rid of him in a second. They don't care, right? They're in that position. They're not like some of these other teams where they would bow to a guy because of his talent, right? So I'm not concerned about him messing up the chemistry that this team has going on. Their chemistry is way too powerful and way too strong. So this has the potential to be one of the biggest steals ever if he can play. That's the key. But if he doesn't, so what? What did you give up? Nothing. So I think you had to make the move. It just makes sense. I mean, it makes a lot of sense to do it, and I have zero concern about it because, like I said, if this guy can play, oh my goodness, this is a major upgrade on the other side of the ball.
Luke, I think that is the appropriate thing. Where there's concern on the part of the Seahawks, none. Minimum contract, cut him if for some reason charges are found and prosecuted on. But I guess in the immediacy, is there any cause for concern on the part of the Seahawks that they were willing to sign a player for which the Lions were not especially stacked at? This was not a convenience cut. This was not a reason for which that they let him go because they were too far. This is not budgetary reasons, yada, yada, yada. They let go of this player due to very serious allegations. What does that do to a team when you bring him in and try to bring him into the fold, especially amidst these legal allegations that are concerning to say the least?
I think that this is just such a weird situation, and there was no reason for the Seahawks to do this.
To do this or to not do this?
To do this.
Okay.
If you could have, nobody was been chomping at the bit to get him.
Well, to be fair, he did try out for the Texans and another team I can't remember.
And they didn't give him a contract. So, I mean, I think you could have just waited. I get it. It's no risk. It's just, I think that I do think we as a society are just too ingrained in letting athletes kind of get away with stuff with little to no repercussions. Rashee Rice is the prime example over in Kansas City. He's realistically faced hardly any repercussions for almost killing someone. I just think that, like, why don't, like, if you feel that way, you feel that he's going to be cleared, you feel that he's not going to be a problem, it seems like you could have just waited for there to be more evidence and proof that he was innocent, and then been like, okay, we did our, we found out he's innocent, we'll sign him. I don't know. It feels like a situation where there's no risk for them. From a business decision, it's the right choice. You're signing him for literally no risk. Does he actually even, if he gets put on the exempt list, does he even count as a roster spot?
I'm pretty sure you do, but I can look.
Okay, I wasn't 100% sure how that worked or not. But yeah, like it's fine, I guess. Like, if it works out, it works out. It's going to be a great fit. He will have a lot of success. I think it'll be a 1-year thing, and to me, that's also where it kind of comes in, because I believe it is, from what I'm sitting here, it is just a 1-year deal.
It is a 1-year deal, and he will not count against the roster if he goes in the exempt list.
Okay, so you are kind of signing him to this low risk, high reward deal that has more public backlash implications than anything else. And at the end of the day, let's say he goes on the exempt list and he can't play for the first 8 weeks. And then he is able to play, and you've gone through all of this rigmarole, and he's only going to end up playing maybe 5 or 6 games by the time he's like able to actually get in and start. I'm not sure if it's worth it yet.
Well, think about
it might
that.
be.
Back into the schedule. If this guy is up and running, consider the talent he is, right? This guy is he's a zone guy. He's not a press guy. And the Lions had him playing press, and he struggled with press. He's a good fit for their scheme. So if you have him back into the schedule where he's actually playing for you and becomes a starter even, and you're going against the Rams and everybody else as you make your playoff run, what a great move this is. You look back going, man, this was the smartest thing they could have done this year because you just shored up that corner side.
Yeah, no, again, from a football business perspective, I don't have an issue with it.
Yeah.
It is the smart move. It's one of those things that it feels like, and I don't know what information they have. They are a $1 billion organization. They have sources and methods to get more information than I can. So I don't know what they've been told or what they know, but just overall, it feels like this is something that, like, if it was my team, I wouldn't want him signed yet because I just don't know enough information.
I wonder if they've talked to the commissioner yet, out of curiosity.
Maybe.
I'm sure they probably have.
They might have. I mean, I think that the NFL is a little more organized than the NBA in terms of why is the Kawhi Leonard deal not gone through? It's because we all know that the deal was agreed to, and the only thing holding that up right now is the fact that up near consecration of the deal, they were like, oh, by the way, Raptors, are you okay with falling and taking on the hit if there's punishment on the part of Kawhi Leonard? And they were like, what? No, we're not. So I do think that in the NFL, they're a little more, and again, even if not, it's a minimum contract. It's it's literally minimal.
Here's $5 for a lottery ticket. You could be $30 million. If it hits, if it doesn't hit, you lost $5.
Not even like a nickel, Ralph. Not even. Yeah. All right. Bitter Dolphin fan does ask while we're on the topic. You three have strong teams that have great coaches and front offices. Brandon Ayuk is not the usual wide receiver where besides speeding and being a jerk, would you want your teams to take a chance on him? Speaking on my team for the Denver Broncos, who have use perennially for a wide receiver, no. But my concern is not just because he's kind of zoning out. I mean, we see Aaron Rodgers go zoning in and out of ayahuasca phases here and there. Just being a weird dude doesn't necessarily do anything. Brandon Ayuk has no criminal charges against him, nothing against the law. What really concerns me about Brandon Ayuk is that I haven't seen him play in quite some time. I heard part of the reason why the Niners initially were grading against him was because they were asking him to simply rehab for a very serious injury, and he was not acclimating to whatever the schedule was that they thought was proper for him to be at his best. I haven't seen him play, and I haven't seen him fully recovered at a level that seems fine. And to be quite candid, I wasn't even that big of a fan of him prior to the injury. So quite simply put, even though he is an ASU great, former ASU great, no, personally, Luke, you with me or are you against me?
I'm with you. I have zero desire. I think he had a lot of potential 3 years ago. I think that he was showing flashes and that he was progressing in the right direction. But again, it's hard to tell because one, he was in a Shanahan offense, which will always make receivers look good. And then on top of that, I do have concerns with whatever's going on. The whole claiming that the PA asked if he wanted help trying to get his money back, and he said, nah, I'm good. And then claiming that the PA was involved in a smear campaign against him because he said that. The whole thing has just been getting weirder and weirder, and I would not want that in my locker room at all. And then on top of that, because now I don't even think the Broncos really have a need. If they did get Brandon Ayuk this year, he is at best wide receiver 3. He is not going to be above Sutton or Waddle to me. So it's like I don't really see any reason to take that chance on him. So I wouldn't want the Broncos to reach out.
Ralph, you got Cooper Kupp as your number 2. Would you want Brandon Ayuk to replace him?
Well, I think that your guys' answer speaks to the weakness of the Broncos locker room, and I understand that. I get it. You have a weak locker room, and that's why you don't win.
So you do want him.
Being a Seattle fan, if the contract was minimal, my biggest concern would be obviously, can he get on the field? He's a Niner. Most Niners just can't get on the field. I mean, that's just who they are, right? They're a medical team. So if he could get on the field, I think he offers a lot to offer. As far as how he fits in, I would let the locker room deal with that, because Seattle's locker room is so strong. I'm not worried about things like that. If he doesn't fit in, they kick him out. So yeah, I would sign him to a minimum contract to give him a shot and see if he could actually stay on the field and if it was worth a darn or not. He's not going to be over Cooper Kupp. He'd be a number 3 at best, and that'd be at best. I mean, but that's not a bad number 3 to have if he's healthy. So
All right.
sure, why not?
Moving quickly through as we make our way through the rest of the stuff. One big story that I wanted to spend a little time on, Jayden Daniels. Jayden Daniels has made himself a fun little name and topic this week, as he is currently trying to show litigation against LSU, his former college football team, not the only college football team that he's formerly had, but the latest one. And he's offered a cease and desist on the part of the wearing of number 5, his number that he wore at LSU. And because the Tigers are allowing cornerback Pickett to wear the number 5 jersey that Daniels wore when he became LSU's 3rd Heisman winner in 2023. The quote that I have available on the part of Jayden Daniels is, "The Daniels family is deeply disappointed and feels profoundly disrespected by LSU's decision to give Jayden's number to another player. Jayden and his family had every reason to believe that his number would remain a meaningful part of his LSU legacy and would be honored to protect it in recognition of his extraordinary contributions to the university." Now, it is worth mentioning that Pickett wore number 3 during his first season with the Tigers in 2025, and when he was named a freshman All-American, but he was wearing number 5 when the Tigers opened preseason practice last week. And to his credit, Jayden Daniels says his focus is on the Commanders. Luke, what is Jayden Daniels smoking here before I get into my little rant? And is there anything that you find is valid in Jayden Daniels having some sort of ownership of the number 5 for the LSU Tigers?
I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to say that this is not from him. I'm going to say that this was not his thought.
Okay.
I'm going to say that this was a lawyer, a business manager, a overbearing uncle, cousin, some dumb intern at his agent's office. I'm going to say that this was I'm going to hope that this was something from somebody else that unfortunately Jayden was convinced was a good idea and allowed his lawyers to go with it. And I hope that he gets a whole new PR team, a whole new agent, a whole new lawyer. Everything needs to be new after this debacle. This is the dumbest thing that I think that you could possibly put on there. However, there is one great thing about this.
Oh?
Yes. The internet is the funniest invention of all time. Jayden Daniels' camp has reportedly reached out to Nickelback, requesting the band change its name to Pennyback, citing Nickelback's uncomfortably close association with the number 5. Daniels' teammates have reportedly been instructed only to give him high 4s, as high 5s are believed to constitute unauthorized use of his number 5. Businesses nationwide have been mandated to shift from a 9 to 5 to 9 to 4 out of respect of Jayden Daniels and his number 5. Alan Jackson has changed the name of his song to "It's 4 O'Clock Somewhere" out of respect for Jayden Daniels. And one of my favorites is that StubHub, the official StubHub Twitter account, effective immediately, we will no longer offer tickets in groups of 5. Out of respect for Jayden Daniels, we're only doing 4 or 6 plus. Thank you for understanding. And they photoshopped a picture of their little logo, of their little how many tickets box, and they took out the number 5. So I will have to say that this has been there's so many more. There's so many more. Highly recommend people go out and look for them. They are hilarious. And that has truly been the silver lining of this incredibly stupid idea from Jayden Daniels in this camp. But I'm going to just pray that this was somebody else's dumb idea that Jayden just okayed and that he doesn't actually care that much about. And I might just be giving him too much credit.
Lane Kiffin said that the player was indeed promised number 5 when he signed under the old regime of Brian Kelly, so that he granted it to him. But Ralph, as a former coach for Little League, if a player came up and now in college was like, whoa, why'd you give little Ethan here my number 13? What the heck's going on here, Ralph? Would you
go ahead?
What would you say?
First of all, I've coached at a high school level, not Little League.
Excuse me.
Right.
I do apologize. Honest miscommunication.
This is pathetic.
Yes, thank you. Yes,
pathetic. I am going to give the benefit of the doubt here. I think this shows you.
Sorry, Tanner's on the chat line saying there's still a photo of Jayden Daniels in the ASU building I work in.
That's funny. The jealousy factor here. I think we're not talking about the Joe Burrow factor. The fact that Joe Burrow's number 9 was retired and is not being worn by anybody. Or it's not retired yet. It's not going to be worn by anybody. It will be retired. They wait so many years to retire it. I know that. But I understand giving that to Joe Burrow. Yes, he won a Heisman just like Daniels, but he also won a national championship.
Thank you.
Daniels, you didn't win a national championship. And I heard that Daniels even told the LSU offices that he wants the replica trophy of the Heisman removed from LSU. This is petty and pathetic. It says a lot about
it's entitled,
Mr. Daniels, major entitlement. And it took my respect factor for this guy from here down to the ground. He lost all respect. I mean, this is not some of his camp doing this. This is him. This is his family. This is what this guy is. And I am on the campaign now to follow this guy and just make his life miserable and constantly talk bad about him every week during the NFL season because he's such an entitled, spoiled brat that he gets so upset that another player might wear his jersey. Boo-hoo, you little loser. It doesn't matter. You're pathetic. Your family's pathetic. And you need to focus on the money you're making and where you're going and actually trying to be a better quarterback in Washington. You pathetic piece of you-know-what.
Jayden Daniels has successfully recruited Ralph Romano on a hate campaign.
I have a hate campaign for this season for him. Pathetic.
Fair enough. My thing was this is such an astronomical level of lack of self-awareness. Truly. Look, I think that there's a trifecta with which you are to be considered to be retired, at least in college football. You need to have won a championship. You need to have been the program's top 5 in position ever played, or you need to have won a Heisman. He won a Heisman, granted, fantastic. Oh, and also you need to have stayed with the team for longer than a year. He won the Heisman.
Yes.
Didn't achieve any of the other 3. When I think of great LSU players, I think of Patrick Peterson. I think of Joe Burrow. I think of Jamar Chase. I even think of Leonard Fournette before I even begin to think of Jayden Daniels. I maybe this is my own ASU bias here coming through. I think of Jayden Daniels more as I remember he was at ASU more than I remember him going to LSU, even in the second place. It's so absurd. And to go out and all but demand, almost legally demand, I guess, to say that because you won a Heisman, you also won the right to retire your number, spits in the face of former players that have won Heismans and not had their numbers retired. I'm looking over at you, and Luke's going to appreciate this. Kyler Murray's number 1 still being used over at Oklahoma, even though he won a Heisman over there. Baker Mayfield, number 6 over there, won a Heisman, still being used.
As it should.
As it should. Devonta Smith over there in Alabama, his number 6, still being used at Bama. Bryce Young, he won a Heisman over there, number 9, still being used. Shoot. I mean, if we even want to go to the other side where it's not just Heisman level, and you talk about history and identification with the school, Cam Scadaboo's number 4 is over there being used. I mean, and granted, great legend, local legend. I don't know that his number will be retired, even though he holds a place in local car dealerships' hearts. I mean, but that's a guy that you will think of for ASU. I mean, James Harden has to go out and do damn near everything but win a championship in order to get his number retired. And those are the things that need to happen. Jayden Daniels to just go out and say, I won one award, that means that the school definitely loves and appreciates me. Get off your rocker, man. What the heck is wrong with you? God, I hate
entitlement.
Entitlement.
1 year, you're not entitled to anything.
Awful. So I'm glad that we all found this to be, and it was just offensive, just how the level of just lack of self-awareness while you're still playing, even like focus on what you need to focus on.
It makes no sense. Why would you put yourself out there like this?
That's how in 2026 does your PR team let this happen?
Yeah.
Tanner has to be misinformed. There's no way Tebow's number 15 is still in use. Is that true?
I do think that is.
Oh, I think Luke's.
I do think that is true.
That is crazy. See, if Tebow is still being used, you have no leg to stand on.
Tebow was the Florida Gators.
And here's the thing, like a lot of colleges, they just don't retire numbers at all officially.
Yeah,
because of just how many numbers you have to give, how long your program's been in existence. Like you
those
have
college
to do
football
a
rosters
lot.
go deep. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, if Tebow's number is still not, I mean, get off your rocker. My gosh. Okay, one last. God, quickly. Kyler. One little topic here. Kyler was named as the starter over in Minnesota prior to even the competition. This was a ludicrous competition from the beginning. It was named and dubbed as one only as a PR stunt to begin with. Kyler Murray named the starter in Minnesota. Is this shocking? This was shocking to nobody on this program, right? We all agreed Kyler was going to be named.
Unless he tore his ACL or something, he was going to be named starter. Also, Richardson and Mertz, both for Florida, wore 15 recently.
Yeah. Oh, Richardson. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. Interesting. All right. So, yeah, Kyler named starter in Minnesota. Don't have much thoughts, as for all of us, that was a foregone conclusion anyways.
I think it'll be interesting to see how he does with a better offensive line for the first time in his career. If he could actually be a quarterback. Right. Or if he's just too small. We're going to find out, I think, pretty quickly.
Better offensive line, Ralph. Do we have a height on the line? Are they a tall?
I mean, they really should be recruiting midgets, but they don't. But based on the line that'd be kind of fun to watch. But based on the line that they have, this is actually the first time he'll actually have a legitimate line in front of him. So I'm really curious to see how he performs. If he can actually see down the field, no kidding aside, just can he really see the stuff down the field? Can he actually hit? It's to watch.
It's to the team's benefit. I do think it would have been detrimental had he not gotten a lot of snaps in a first-year offense and everything else. That's a complicated system that Kevin O'Connell runs.
And if he struggles, do we now have a controversy where McCarthy is? Because, in my opinion, the Vikings have missed a lot in the last year and a half. I mean, if you think about it, they missed on Sam Darnold. They should have kept him. That was stupid to let him go. They should have kept Daniel Jones. They didn't let him go. I mean, they drafted J.B. McCarthy, which is a big mistake. I mean, they've done a lot of misses there lately. So what do you do if Kyler struggles in the first 2-3 weeks?
I don't blame them for the Daniel Jones miss, to be clear. Like Sam Darnold had a full year to prove that, yeah, you should re-sign me. Daniel Jones was literally just a flyer, and I get why they didn't want to sign him again.
Injury insurance.
Yeah. But like I don't know what you do if you mess this up again. I guess you just hope you mess it up bad enough to be able to draft a quarterback again next year. I think that's your best choice.
McCarthy to the Chargers?
I don't think
McCarthy to like the Steelers, McCarthy to the Texans, I think.
Back with Harbaugh.
Nobody is trading for McCarthy.
Well, maybe Harbaugh would.
I don't think he would.
Luke, I think you're undervaluing the allure of a 6th-round draft pick. Like Kenny Pickett got a draft pick. I think Kenny Pickett got traded for a third.
Kenny Pickett is better than JJ McCarthy.
He is.
I'm not saying the Vikings wouldn't trade him. I'm saying nobody would give up anything for him.
There were other teams that they felt, well, I guess Sean Payton was the one that mostly promoted that they needed, that they were possible.
Also, remember, he missed his rookie year. So at the end of this year, if you pick him up, you will only have him for a year.
I wonder if he's their 2 or their 3, because they have Carson Wentz too.
I think
he might be their third.
I think Wentz might still be recovering from his surgery.
It's possible. Anyways, all right. So we got that. Carson Beck. Before we move on from the local hour here, Carson Beck did not play this past week, last night in their game against the Las Vegas Raiders, but he did play in the Hall of Fame game. And I just wanted to talk about it since we're in Arizona, since there's a fervor, since there's a big red rising seed of love for Carson Beck
for the away teams.
There is a thought and, dare I say, desire that even though the Arizona Cardinals did cave in did give in to Jacoby Brissett's contract demands. Still floors me. And we'll talk about that more. I suppose we can get into this a little bit in the 8x8, but I thought since he's the backup, at least for now, that Beck is being mulled around as a potential franchise quarterback, at least for this season, and to see what he's got. Of course, showed in the Hall of Fame game, was 15-19, got 188 yards, got a touchdown, got a little tutty there, got a sack as well, but, only played limited snaps there. Did anybody change their mind about what they thought about Carson Beck? Is he possibly somebody that the Cardinals can go forward with, a la like a Tyler Shuck over there in New Orleans?
I'm not going to spoil the 8x8 later on, but no, this did not change
your opinion on Beck.
My opinion that I will share later on. But no, okay. I'm in the same boat. The Hall of Fame game did not change what my thoughts were on the situation at all.
Okay. So the situation, did your thoughts change specifically on Carson Beck? I mean, I will admit, I did not have high thoughts whatsoever on Beck. So the fact that he was able to even put together a couple of good series was eye-opening a little bit. A little bit.
This is where preseason sucks. It's not eye-opening. He's throwing against guys that are going to be selling cars in 3 weeks. I mean, that's the bottom line. So, no, it's not eye-opening. He's not playing. Maybe it'd be eye-opening if we were trying to recruit him to the UFL. I think he could be, very good there because those are the guys he's playing against when you have your threes out there. And that's what he was. It's nonsense. I hate preseason. It's absolute nonsense.
Especially
it wasn't
week 0 preseason.
Yeah, there's nothing eye-opening about it. He is what he is. We know what he is.
All right. Well, then if we already know what it is, we already know who it is, and we already know what time it is. And it is time to get our meat on and go deep into that valley for some 8x8.
Like it's totally time for the 8x8 series. 8 NFL divisions, 8 weeks, and nowhere to hide. Gag me with a spoon. We know exactly who you are. And now we're calling you out one team at a time. No excuses. No hiding behind the hype. This is the 8x8. For sure.
All right. Second to last time we will ever hear that intro.
Second to last time.
We're going to use her over and over.
Oh. Second to last, Luke, because we end this segment by listening to it as well. Unless you forget, we've had 8 weeks to get used to this. But 8 weeks because we've gone through every single division, but we did save the best for last. The best division being the NFC West. Now, it is considered the best simply because of the quality of the top 3 teams. There is a team that is in the cellar, that is in the muddied, half drenched and submerged in water, and mold is growing. It is swamp-like. That cellar is, of course, the Arizona Cardinals. We are in the state upon which this team resides in, so we get to see it day in and day out. Of course, these Arizona Cardinals had a very highly touted draft in the first round. At number 3, they drafted the highest paid running back in Jeremiyah Love, the running back out of Notre Dame. Round 2, they got number 34. They drafted Jace Bezontis, who seemingly is out for the rest of the year.
Tore his MCL.
Yeah, tore his MCL. Crazy, out of Texas A&M. And then in round 3, we just talked about him. They drafted Carson Beck, quarterback out of Miami. All right, so for the transactional news, the Arizona Cardinals had a busy offseason, starting with the firing of I can't keep my hands to myself, Jonathan Gannon, and hiring Mike LaFleur. They also hired offensive coordinator Nathaniel Hackett, just as a side swipe here. Looking at you over there, Luke. They released former number 1 overall pick Kyler Murray and even had a standoff with incumbent quarterback Jacoby Brissett, eventually caving and giving him more money. Otherwise, in free agency, they mostly stuck in bolstering, I put in quotation marks, the roster with name recognition, hired backups and quarterback Gardner Minshew and former Falcons running back Tyler Algier. Let's go to you first over there, Luke. What is your statement and thoughts on the Arizona Cardinals?
My statement and thoughts are the Arizona Cardinals are still left with no direction and no hope. They will start the season 0-13. They will end
0-13.
They will end 1-16.
Wow.
And finally, hopefully, if there is a merciful God in heaven, Monty Austinfort will finally be fired, along with Nathaniel the Hackett. I don't know what to tell you here. I told you my opinion on Carson Beck hasn't changed after the preseason, and it hasn't. I think he will eventually play at some point this year, possibly. I am less sure of it now that you were stupid enough to give Jacoby Brissett $15 million for some reason.
So dumb.
I don't know what your direction here is. It should have been to just trade Jacoby, get in some more assets for whoever comes in next year, and then throw in Minshew for a couple weeks and then throw in Beck when you think he's ready. I don't really see what the point of paying Jacoby was at all, other than maybe, I guess, to possibly save you some face in the locker room. But that's not going to matter because you're going to be gone at the end of the year anyways. So I truly believe they have a bye week 14, and then after the bye, they play the Jets. If they can't beat the Jets at home after a bye, I will believe that they will go 0-17. That is the one win that I have for them. They will not beat the Chargers or Seattle or San Francisco to start the year. They're not going to beat New York in New York. They're not going to beat Detroit or the Rams or Denver or the Cowboys or the Seahawks again or the Rams again or the Chiefs or the Commanders or the Eagles. This is a bad team with a bad offensive coordinator, a bad defensive coordinator. They're very few bright spots. One of them's already missing time for a sore ankle in Jeremiyah Love. They just lost for probably the whole year their second round draft pick who was supposed to help your offensive line.
Yeah.
Marvin Harrison has one more year to prove that he's not going to be one of the biggest busts of all time. And I don't know what you're going to expect other than Michael Wilson and Trey McBride having 1,500-yard seasons with 10 touchdowns while you lose every game 40-21. This team is hot garbage. That is all.
I think the only part that we disagree on there, Luke, is that I have less faith in the NFC East than you do. I do think week 4 is up in the air, and then week 12 are possible win spots, but nowhere beyond that. I'll go next. My statement on them is Jacoby Brisket, because it was never a misunderstanding on why Jacoby Brissett was holding out. I would hold out too and get as much money as I could when I was facing getting absolutely cooked week in and week out behind a less than stellar line, when facing the likes of Seattle's deep defensive line, Myles Garrett and Aaron Donald, and even Nick Bosa for a game here or there within the division. Jacoby is going to get cooked. He's going to get pounded, and he will be the meat bag the Cardinals roll out every week on their way to a campaign that feels doomed to be a top pick in the upcoming draft contender. Simply put, this is a bad team to begin with, and it only exacerbates the issue when the rest of the division is licking their chops to play you twice this year. You are the forgiving game that you should win and you cannot afford to lose. Arizona Cardinals, I don't know if I'm going as low as 1. I mean, they're over unders 3.5, depending on where you want to go and find that line. But it's not looking great. It's not looking positive. But Arizona Cardinals are going to be cooked. Ralph, you're our last voice on the matter.
My statement is Beck the ace up the cards sleeve?
Ooh,
that's a good one.
No, that's good. That's good. I'm ready to hear it.
Again, I'm with all you guys. I don't like that they gave Brissett that money. It makes no sense. If I'm coaching this team, I'm sure Mike LaFleur is probably sitting there going, why did I take this job? I start Beck and I see what I've got, because I have to make a decision at the end of the year, because like Luke said, you might go 1-16 this year. It's very possible. You're most likely the number 1 pick in the draft next year. So, and there's a lot of good guys there sitting there. So you got to figure out if you have your quarterback of the future. You know, it's not Brissett. You know, it's not Mr. Mustache. So you got to give Beck the opportunity to go ahead and see what he can do. That's what I would do. But I don't think they're going to do that for whatever reason. Probably until week 5 is when I think that'll happen. This is a bad division to be rebuilding a team in.
Oh,
Yeah.
There's just way too much talent. There's nothing more I can say that you guys haven't already said. I guess what I'm going to be watching more than anything is how many weeks is it going to take for Jeremiyah Love to get injured behind that line? And how bad is Marvin Harrison's junior year going to be? Because I think it's going to be bad again. I've seen clips of him in training camp, and he just looks horrible. He reminds me of a movie called, I can't remember the movie with Scott Bakula as quarterback, but there was a receiver called Stonehands. And that's who Marvin Harrison looks like. He looks like his hands just don't work. It's very odd for a guy that had so much success in college. He looks so bad as a pro. And I'm really curious to see if that continues this year and if he is the ultimate bust, which I think he might be. The only bright spot that I think you'll see is Trey McBride, who will have the year he always has. Michael Wilson will be interesting to see if he can do it again a second year. The defense will be horrific. It's just a bad defense. There's nothing exciting to think about for this defense. If you're a Cardinal fan, you already know what you've got this year. Our boss has got Cardinal season tickets. He's already starting to give them away. And I don't blame him. There's no reason to go to the games. You're just going to get frustrated. So, I mean, again, like you guys, this is the last place team. I'd say 2 to 3 wins max. It's hard to think when you start thinking through what Luke said with those games after game. They could legitimately lose every single game. I mean, it's very possible. I guess we'll see what happens. But yeah, this is a bad team.
all right. Moving from one bad team to a team that's down bad. The 49ers traded out of the first round. In round 2, they at pick 33, they picked up Dejon Stribling, wide receiver out of Mississippi. In round 3, they had 2 picks. They at pick 70, they got Romello Height, the defensive lineman out of Texas Tech. And in round 3, at pick 90, they got Kalon Black, the running back out of Indiana. The 49ers hope to get by getting older. They added 3 wide receivers in Mike Evans, Christian Kirk, and familiar face, Deebo Samuel. They also signed Dre Greenlaw after a hiatus with the best team in the AFC. They re-signed kicker Eddie Pinheiro to a 4-year extension early on. And it would be not addressing the elephant in the room if I did not mention that the 49ers, for being healthy, has already been dampened, if not dashed altogether, with injuries running rampant as wide receiver Ricky Pearsall is already out for the year, and the number of players on their injury list having spiked to 20, a number that doesn't even account for their head coach, who has had to be put in the recovery room himself due to a concussion from a car crash. So, Ralph, you go first on this one, my guy.
My statement is gold rush or hospital rush, because honestly, it's just getting ridiculous over there. You have to look at these guys that are coming back from major injuries. I mean, there's just too many of them, right? I get scared. I do. I look at last year, and they won 12 games last year. That may have been really impressive if you really sit down and think about all the injuries that they had, right? But you got Trent Williams, you got McCaffrey, you got Kittle, Evans, Bosa, all coming off ACL injuries. That's not a good thing. That seems like a recipe for disaster, and you're really relying on those guys. Bringing Evans in, I think, could be really good for Purdy if he can stay on the field. And I don't know that he can. Purdy, in my opinion, has and always will be a mediocre quarterback that played really good in that system with a lot of talent around him. He's not a guy you can rely on outside of losing that talent to be able to put him on your back and go. That's not who he is. It's absurd how much injuries this team has. It's absolutely absurd. And I don't know that it's going to get any better this year. If you think about the sacks last year, they had 20 sacks all season. I think Garrett had 23.
Yeah.
But they still managed to win 12 games. That's impressive.
Lest we forget, though, they had an easy schedule. It was them and the Patriots that we both looked at. They were like, oh.
They did. You're right. They did. But still, I'm trying to find a positive.
You're trying to be nice, Ralph. That's very generous.
Are they a playoff team? They're probably a bubble team. It all comes down to the hospital rush. Can they keep players on the field? If they can keep their talented play, and they do have talented guys, if they can keep these guys on the field playing at a decent level, they're absolutely a playoff team, a bubble team anyway, at the minimum. I don't think they can. I just don't. I think we'll be. It's another year of talking about, yeah, they were good, they had talent, but, and I think that's going to be this season. I'm not even sure how to say how many games these guys win. I just don't know. I think their ceiling and their floor are so expanded. I mean, they could be injury riddled and win 6 games all year, or everyone stays healthy and they win 11, 12 games. I mean, that's the team that they are. And I'm just not sure who's going to show up at the end of the day. But they're a third place team in this division, in my opinion. I think the Rams and Seahawks are just way better, and it's way more solid. But again, it's Gold Rush or Hospital Rush. We'll see what happens.
Luke?
The NFL, the San Francisco 49ers will lead the NFL in games missed due to injury. They will.
Oh, they've already got a head start. Like the gun hasn't even rushed off, and they're already.
They will own that start. Last year, they got the benefit of one of the easiest schedules, and we even kind of called this out in last year's preview of this team's really not that good, but they will still have a good season because they had so many just easy wins. This year, I don't think that their schedule is quite as easy. So they're going to struggle a lot more and missing one. I highly doubt McCaffrey is going to be as healthy as he was last year. That was a miracle. I think that Bosa is probably not going to be able to last for very long. Kittle's going to be a flip of the coin. Purdy's going to be a flip of the coin. Like you just don't.
And they start out in Australia. Like that's starting to throw you off.
In Australia, Pearsall's already gone for the year. I believe Kendrick Bourne already signed somewhere else. I think actually with Arizona, I believe.
Yeah.
There's just this is going to be a 500 ball club that will be third in the division, and they will lead the league in NFL with missed games due to injury. But at the end of the day, they have Kyle Shanahan, who is a very, very good head coach and will just figure out a way to make his offense work, even with the second, third, fourth string running backs like he did last year or 2 years ago when Purdy was hurt for like the entire year. Like that's just what he does. And so I still think that they have 2 easy wins against the Cardinals, and they can find another 5 to 7 easy wins against teams like Miami, the Commanders, Atlanta, Las Vegas. Like there are still some easy wins there, but that's it.
My statement for the 49ers, the electric bills come due. There's no question that this team under Kyle Shanahan has been tremendous, even to the point of admirably overachieving. But the very scheme that Kyle Shanahan has innovated the league with has seemingly come with a price. Between the physicality his schemes demand, coupled with finally committing to a quarterback whose price tag puts him out of the bargain bin, I believe this team has crescendoed to the highest point they can muster. I don't even think that this would be the case if they were in practically any other division. However, given the known knowledge that the team will be dealing with injuries up and down the roster while lacking the depth that they once had, I think that this is the best team of the worst teams, meaning they missed the playoffs while being feisty to the bitter end. I don't think it merits a hot seat for Shanahan, but there is a player who could be pretty scared for his position at starter if this season follows the downward trajectory he's been on since he signed the franchise deal. I'm with you guys. 50-50, 500 team. Again, feisty. I think that there's even a good chance that they beat the Rams once this year or something like that. It's within the realm of possibility for me. It's just a matter of, if I'm a team seeing them on my schedule, I want them later in the year, not the beginning. You want the injured, depleted team that inevitably will come. All right, let's move along. I debated on which team to end with. And against my better judgment, I think we're going to next go to the Rams. In round 1, at number 13th overall, Ralph's favorite pick, Ty Simpson, the quarterback out of Alabama for the Rams. Round 2, number 61 overall, they drafted Max Clare, the tight end out of Ohio State. And in round 3, number 93 overall, they drafted Keegan Trost, the offensive tackle out of Missouri. It's fairly inarguable to find a team that has done more this offseason to make their team better, as the Rams have made moves in nearly every facet of the offseason. They started out by signing Bubba Ventrone as their special teams coordinator, an area that can almost exclusively attribute to 3 of their most important losses this past season. They then acquired 2 former Chiefs cornerbacks in the highly touted trade for Trent McDuffie, and then signing Jaylen Watson and addressing their second biggest weakness from last season. They then fortified their defensive line by trading away Jared Verse to receive reigning Defensive Player of the Year Myles Garrett, meaning they have the reigning MVP and Defensive Player of the Year. Oh, and just for fun, they might prove Philip Wright after all by not only entertaining, but also bringing back Hall of Fame lock Aaron Donald just for the heck of it. I remember you both laughed in my face.
I'm still laughing.
Has
it happened yet? Has it happened yet? They've been saying all week he's making the decision, and yet here we are, Saturday afternoon, still nothing.
So, to quote a former host on this show, as he has made it evident on what the Rams do. My statement on the Rams: if you ram it just right, it won't even be tight.
Enough about me. We're here to ram it, you see. If you ram it just right, you can ram it all night.
There we go. If you ram it just right, it won't even be tight. This team is an absurd favorite. For what? For everything. And any rational NFL fan can see why even Ralph cannot poo-poo away the single biggest threat to his team repeating as champions. And I do think this is the team that will place a massive importance on winning in the regular season. Regardless of the improvements made to the defense, this team's identity is offense by way of their sage head coach and their MVP, Matthew Stafford. And hostile environments, whether it be snowy Eagles home stadium, a blizzard blitz in the Bears home stadium, or even the decibel deafening environment of the Seahawks stadium, affects this offense. So a number one seed is crucial for this team and healthy quarterback play through the season. With that in tow, then you can no sweat bet the Rams to win the Super Bowl with ease. And this is my division leader and winner. The Rams are winning this division. Let's go to you, Luke.
It's now or never for the Rams. This is it. You've done everything you can. You've said F them picks yet again, and you have done everything possible to make it this year. You have to win this year. There's no next year unless Ty Simpson proves to be something that I don't think any of us believe that he will be. So it's this year with Matt Stafford. I think that they put themselves in a great position. I think that we've talked about the Rams quite a bit, just in side conversations throughout this offseason. They've always come up as a Super Bowl contender. They've always come up as one of the teams to beat, if not the team to beat. And I will continue to maintain that they are the division winner, conference winner, and quite probably league winner this year.
Ralph, this is your time to be petty.
My statement was Seattle rammed the door shut last year. Now LA wants to return the favor, right? Everyone thought last year the Rams were the team. They were going to the Super Bowl. They were the best team in football. Well, we saw what happened in Seattle. And you made a really good point. They need to be the number one seed to make that happen. I feel like if they're not the number one seed, that will be the nail in their coffin. I really believe that. If they let Seattle be the number one seed, they will not go up to Seattle and win an NFC Championship game, in my opinion. They've done everything they can do. They've done everything they can do to make sure that Seattle doesn't do to them what they did last year. They made all the hires. They've got the roster in place. I'm sure they talk about it constantly. Whenever you see interviews, they always talk about the Seahawks. That's very dangerous. Be careful not to just focus on the Seattle team, because if you do that, you might wind up getting in trouble with some other teams. And next thing you know, you're not in a position where you thought you would be. We've seen that happen in the past. So that's a very dangerous place to live right now. And right now, Seattle lives rent-free in every one of their heads. We all know that. So again, they've done everything that they could do possibly to put the right roster in place. Now they just have to go out and win. So there's no excuses this year. None. This is it. It's title or bust. It's not even getting to the Super Bowl. It's title or bust. If they don't win a Super Bowl this year, this thing probably falls apart next year completely. Kind of like reminding me of when Seattle lost that Super Bowl to New England. It kind of just fell apart after that. I think that's the position this Rams team is in. If they don't win the Super Bowl this year, that's it. This window is closed and you see this roster start to fall apart. So we'll see what happens. I think they are the biggest threat to the Seahawks. I've said that every year. I said it last year. And I'll give you my opinion on where I think these two finish after I talk about the Seahawks. But
fair enough.
They're a great team. They're, again, top two team in the league. No doubt.
There we go. Just happen to be in the same division.
Yep.
Unfortunately, we're going to have to go quick here. Seattle Seahawks, round 1 at the last pick, Jadarian Price, running back out of Notre Dame. In round 2, Bud Clark, the safety out of TCU. You got to like that pick. Round 3, number 99, Julian Neal, the cornerback out of Arkansas. The Seahawks are running it forward this year. So stupid. By making moves around the edges. They did lose their offensive coordinator, Clint Kubiak, to the cesspool that is the Raiders, and replaced him with a former Niner, Brian Fleury, who I'm still not sure if they know he's not related to the LaFleurs. They also lost cornerback Reek Woolen to the Eagles and thanked the reigning Super Bowl MVP running back Kenneth Walker by not paying him and letting him sign with the Chiefs. They also proved Philip Hammerine right by extending Offensive Player of the Year Jackson Smith and Jigba to a lucrative contract extension that Ralph did not like, making me somehow the JSN guy on the show. Call me crazy. Oh, and according to Ralph, I should notify everyone that the Seahawks signed edge rusher Dante Fowler. So there we go. All right, Luke, you're first to go.
I'll keep it short and sweet. You've done it once, do it again. Your team is supposedly better, according to Ralph. You didn't lose anything important. Everything has an improvement. You cannot do any wrong, John Schneider. We've said it a billion times on this show. Seahawks do not make mistakes ever. They are 100% perfect. They have won the last 60 Super Bowls, and they will continue to win the next 60.
That's awesome.
There we go.
Back to Sack. The Seahawks are the ultra-rare team that has a dominant regular season, number 1 seed, smoke a team in the Super Bowl, mostly return a young and nasty team. And yet, outside this fine program, they can't buy any publicity. They are such a background team that they get to somehow play the no one believes in us card yet again. And that makes them dangerous, and I'm going to go out on a limb here and say their defense won't lose a step. Their head coach won't let it happen. It is somewhat unfair that this team's success or failure this season will likely come down to 2 games in their last 3 of the regular season, with seeing how they fare against the Rams in games that could determine the NFC representative in the Super Bowl in the regular season. Say hello to the number 1 wild card team in the NFC playoffs. Your turn, Ralph.
That was good.
Thank you.
I like that. Look, my statement is same MOB plus better Darnold equals good luck to the rest of the league. Darnold looks amazing in training camp. Looks better than last year.
Tight spiral. Ooh.
Well, he has the tightest spiral in the league. We already know that. But his accuracy compared to last year, it's not even at the same level. He looks so much better. This team is returning 21 of 22 starters. So I want you to think about that. They're returning 21 of 22 starters to a Super Bowl championship team. This defense is by and far, in my opinion, arguably in Luke's opinion, the best defense in football. Returning pretty much everybody, right? They lost Kobe Bryant. They signed that kid out of, you just mentioned the draft pick, who's having a great camp, who looks just as good as Kobe. And what does Kobe Bryant do? Go to Philadelphia, gets hurt, he's out for the year. Oh, well. Just saying. I love this team. I honestly feel they could be better than last year. I love Mike McDonald. If you've been watching Hard Knocks, the one thing you learn about Mike McDonald is he has total control of what's going on in that organization as far as at the player level and the scheme level. He is a no-nonsense guy. He doesn't take BS, but he also has a great relationship with his players. If you haven't watched Hard Knocks, watch Hard Knocks. It's unbelievable. Going forward, he's right. He's not looking backwards. They won last year. That's great. What can this team do? This team is a little different. What can this team do? I think they're going to be better. I think this is a 14 or 15 win team. They win the division. They're the number 1 seed in the NFC, and they are back-to-back Super Bowl champions. This team is that good. They're going to be that much better. Sam Darnold will impress the heck out of people like never before this year. You will see him take that next step. Even after he just won a Super Bowl, he's going to take the next step. And I think the player to watch, Jadarian Price.
Supposedly Charbonnet is healthy enough to where they're possibly going to have him come back like week 1. It's crazy.
No, he's not healthy enough. You don't see Jadarian Price start. He's already doing the reps with the number 1 guys. If you're a fantasy guy, watch Price. He may be a great fantasy pickup for you because he's going to be their number 1 guy.
Says Ralph Romano recently.
I'm telling you right now, I'm going to try to get him. I know I'm telling you guys this, but I'm going to try to get him. I think he's a good pick. So I have the Seahawks winning. I think the Rams are right there. the two best games of the year will be when they play each other toward the end of the year, and we'll see where it goes. But those are the two best teams in football. I expect them to be battling to a death at the end. And whichever one is left standing is probably who raises the trophy at the end of the year, in my opinion. I don't think there's anybody in the AFC that can beat either one of these teams.
I do wonder if they put too much of a good thing at the end of the year, because probably in an ideal world, the NFL would want them to meet again in the postseason. And so you're going to get 3 meetings within the last 5 weeks of the season. Kind of crazy.
And I think it's a shame that one of them is going to have to be a number 5 seed, because truly they need to figure the seeding out and do it different, because these are the two best teams in football. They should be 1 and 2 if that's how it plans out.
Disagree. But it sounds like we all, me and Luke, have the Rams winning the division, and Ralph has the Seahawks winning the division. However, number 1 wild card on the loser of that divisional battle. Yeah, I mean, really, it's good. Yeah, high respect for both. Of course, Lakers sold again. Crazy way to make $2.5 billion on an investment in 1 year. And Russell Westbrook, happy trails. Don't let the door hit you on the way.
He had to get his MBA in, guys.
He had to
do it. That's our show. That's our football heavy show. We'll be back next week, same time, same channel. Thanks to everybody spending some time with us this weekend. Go enjoy the rest of your weekend. And remember one thing. The Seahawks are on TV tonight, NFL Network, 5 p.m. You need to watch it. Even their number 3s are